always love that intro. Welcome to the Relationshipping Show with your host, LaDonna Raeh and
Lorenzo to you.
LT. What's up with you? I'm doing swell-tastic. I feel like we took a little bit of a break. I know. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, we took a long break, y'all. Relationshipping has not aired for about, I don't know, 6 months. Yeah. And what have you been doing? It's been, we've gone, I haven't talked, we haven't done a show since last year.
Well, a lot is going on. I lost 20 pounds, gained 11 pounds.
I found your 20 pounds.
Co-starred on Chicago Fire and got called back as a guest star on Chicago Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Been working as a first AD on a project called Space,
Mm-hmm.
which is shooting in Chicago, Illinois. I've been working as an assistant director on a stage play, here local in the Chicagoland area. So yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy.
Well,
But
keep talking.
keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's been a good, excuse me, a good productive kind of busy. Uh, something I think that will be, some great stuff to share in um, a future, in the future on the podcast. So it'd be something great to share, with the audience.
Well, you may have to repeat all of that.
Hmm.
Yep,
What?
you do. Yep.
Oh, you couldn't hear me,
Mm-mm, couldn't hear you. I
but I
look.
could
I
hear me.
saw the needle wasn't
But
moving.
and I sound different right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
All
okay,
right, we're
to
gonna.
kind of
I'm
repeat
gonna
that.
ask
It's
you
been
again.
a long time. It's been like I said. It's been roughly about 6 months
Mm-hmm.
since we've been on the podcast. I've lost 20 pounds and gained 10 pounds. I've gotten back in the gym.
What do you
Trying
work
to
on in the gym?
Well, I try to keep everything balanced. Like for example, a lot of people don't understand that when we talk about symmetry or trying to look symmetrical, um, a lot of people don't understand like your neck, your biceps, and your calves should have the same circumference when
Okay.
we're talking about overall symmetry. So there's certain parts of your body that should be symmetrically um, put together. So, like I said, I'm back in the gym and I try to keep myself looking somewhat symmetrical to where I look good in a suit, or if I have to take off a shirt in any of the many projects that I'm involved in or may get cast for as an actor.
Wait, let's
But
talk about that for a minute. Didn't you just recently get word that people don't like people with abs?
oh yeah, I was on a podcast um, with that had Amy Linden on there teaching, and if you're an actor or an actress and you've worked with Amy Linden, you know exactly who you are. If you haven't worked with Amy Linden, you're definitely going to have to look her up. If you're not taking her classes, I would definitely tune into her podcast. It is an amazing podcast, and on the podcast they were talking about how they hated people with abs because, and I'm sure it was because they didn't have abs themselves. But they talk about, oh, people with abs, they seem so hard, their bones, all this other stuff. But hey, I remember I just put in the comment, hey, my abs are my brand, or is part of my brand, as just kind of have a sense of humor. But so I'm always trying to take some type of class or to make sure that I'm on top of my training, that I'm constantly out marketing and pushing my brand as an actor. Um, and with that break, many of you don't know that I co-starred on Chicago Fire. Then I got called back as a guest star on Chicago Fire. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping, with that being a recurring role, that it may some point turn into a season regular.
Yes.
So if you guys out there in casting and in production of Chicago Fire, we are hoping that Deputy District Chief Markison becomes a season regular. We're speaking that into
Existence,
existence.
yes. Well,
So, yeah.
I'm hoping that that happens because you did so well. I
Mm,
think
thank you.
where can people find the clip though? Or if they have they can
You
watch it on
know,
what
I'm gonna
network?
pull up. It's gonna be on NBC. It's on NBC, so you can always go back and watch the replays. What I'll do is before this is over, I will make sure I put the season and the episode. So those of you who want to watch the episode that I'm in, you guys could tune in and go straight to it. You don't have to. But if you want to watch it from from beginning to the end, or to up to date, go right ahead. But well, if you want to just see me, I'll definitely give you the episode and which season that is featured in.
Well, let me just say I'm a big fan of Chicago Fire. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a big fan of yours and I watched those episodes cuz you're in two of them.
Mhm.
Um there was season tell me the season numbers again
Um,
cuz you were in
it's
episode
gonna
18,
be
16. It's something about
13. I know it's episode 13 on
Mhm.
one, and I know it's season 18 on another.
Mhm.
I'm about to pull it up though here shortly. I'm about to try to do that right now as we're talking.
No, I don't think the season's 18. But yeah, look
Uh,
that up. But I did watch it over and over again because
mhm, mhm.
I couldn't believe that was you. I believe that that's your
I
position.
couldn't believe it was me. I mean, if you know sometimes how hard it is to um, uh, book a role, let alone a role on a major network.
Mhm.
It's a lot of times, those on the outside looking in, they think that we book these roles just on being present or just by showing up, but it's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's a lot of being unemployed that goes into it. A lot, it's just a lot that goes into it.
Mhm.
It's a lot that goes into it. It's hard to even really explain it. But just a lot of patience, a lot of resilience and determination, to continue to audition, even when you get more no's than yeses. So
Mhm.
yeah.
How do you get, past that cuz I think about how you audition, you must audition over and over again and you don't always get a yes.
Well, I used to listen to Jim Rohn a lot,
Mm.
and I love to mention this because one of the things that he said is he talked about the law of averages.
Mhm.
And me not knowing much about baseball, that's why he explained it like in baseball. He was talking about the law of averages, basically stating that the more times you step up to the plate to bat, the higher the chances you are, the higher the chances of hitting the ball.
That makes sense.
And when you apply that to acting, the more times you step up to audition for the role, the higher your chances are in booking the role. So you want to make sure that you're auditioning on a regular basis so that your chances of booking increase, because you're guaranteed not to book the role if you don't audition.
Yeah.
If you don't show up for the role, you're guaranteed not to book it. So, you just want to you want to audition as much as possible to increase your chance of booking the role.
Well, that's very, very good advice. So let me well actually, so what's been going on with me?
Yeah, yeah. What's going
Since
on with you? Yeah, yeah. What has LaDonna Ray been doing?
well, since we last did our show, I think that I don't know if I was a regular on WVON 1690, but
Right.
I am now the permanent co-host on the afternoon show on WVON 1690.
All right.
And that's been fun. I have taken on quite a few hats
Uh-huh.
in doing so, but I'm excited about them because I also got promoted to be the digital strategist at
Mm.
WVON 1690. It's such an honor to be in either position because I really truly respect WVON as a radio station. And it's not just a radio station, it's talk radio,
Mhm.
it's black talk radio. And I love it. It's a small company, but a big presence, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I like to say small enough to know you, large enough to serve you.
Mhm.
And with that being said, I've gotten to know quite a few people that, or quite a few notable people that I've been working with notable people anyway, but now it's like I get to I get to talk to them in front of our audience. So shout out to all of our WVON listeners, and shout out to all of the directors because I debuted as assistant director for
Ooh.
the play Consequences, and that was great. My son was in it. Logan Robinson, he played the lead role as
Uh-huh.
MJ. So I was really proud of him. But that was a step into my assistant director shoes. So shout out to Larita Smith,
Mm.
the writer and director of Consequences, and Brian Stanley. I was in a role for one of his college projects. That was great, and a couple of more, quite a few more plays and productions. I mean, I have a list, but I'm not gonna go into all of them. But I will definitely say thank you to all of you who gave LaDonna Raeh a chance, because I'm telling you, I'm nervous every time, and I'll continue to be that. Um,
So you've been busy.
I've been busy. I think, but I want to say I've been deliberate.
Uh-huh.
You know, busy is like you can be busy doing nothing, but I've been deliberate. I said I wanted the rest of my life to be the best of my life,
Mm.
and I can. It's gonna be hard to top 2025. So there you have it. You guys, you can give us a call. I'm about to give the number to WVO.
Oh gosh.
Wait a minute.
Oh gosh.
The number is 312-357-5141 if you want to give us a call and talk live on this show. Um, we are going to be on weekly, and we're going to go into this topic. So the name of the show is Relationshiping. Relationshiping can be anything. It doesn't have to be a monogamous relationship. It could be friendships, courtships, partnerships, mother, daughter, father, son. It could be whatever type of ship.
Mm.
But today, we're going to talk about one of two topics, maybe both. Let's get into this first topic, because the first topic is situationships. Can situationships actually? Let me look at what the topic was, because we changed it a couple of times. But can situate when it comes to situationships? What do you think of when you see that? Will we unravel the situationship epidemic? Why are we all stuck in the talking stage? What does that mean, Lorenzo? Talking stage.
I mean, like, oh yeah, we just talking.
That's what I thought.
Um, the talking stage. I think if I was to think of it in the talking stage is basically to me is you're still in that preparation stage that you never leave the preparation stage. Meaning that if you're still talking, what you still just trying to get to know each other, you're still feeling each other out,
Hmm.
you're still unsure. Um, that's what that sounds like. If you was to put the dating or developing a relationship into categories, you never get past category one. You stay stuck in that area. Um, yeah.
That's why it's a
So
situationship.
yeah, it's definitely a situationship. You don't know where you're at. You're
Hmm.
just in a situation. Um, but yeah, I would like to. Yeah, let's definitely kind of peel this banana.
I love it. And then
No
the
pun
other,
intended.
right? The other topic is, are accomplished Black women being penalized in dating?
Ooh.
The success mismatch exposed.
Mm.
So we can touch on both of those, but
Okay.
if we're going to do it, let's get into it. So when you talk about situationships, you're not talking about relationships, you're not talking about being single, not quite anything, just stuck. Like Lorenzo said, texting every day, seeing each other regularly, sharing energy, intimacy, time. But when it comes to clarity or commitment, suddenly it's like you don't want to put a label on it. And here's the real question that we're asking tonight: how did the talking stage become the final destination? Is this about fear of commitment? Because I know a lot of people have a fear of commitment. Too many options. Are there too many options out there, especially with social media and trauma that hasn't been healed? Or are we confusing access with intention? Somebody in a situationship is hoping and somebody else is just comfortable. So tonight we're unpacking why situationships feel normal now, why benefits from staying undefined are there benefits, why they even exist, and how long is too long to wait for someone to decide what to do.
Woo,
Hmm.
woo.
So we want to hear from you. Call us live 312-357-5141. Don't be scared. And make sure I think I paid the bill, so I won't know unless you call. But if you've been in a situationship, or if you're in one now, or if you walked away from one and learned something the hard way, why don't you answer those questions? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a caller, but I want to hear from Lorenzo real quick. I know you. I hear you over. Your heart's like beating. I can
No,
hear
no, I
the
was,
rhythm.
I like to, I like to keep my conversations genuine. So I try not to go online and look stuff up or get anything that's going to sway my thoughts or put other thoughts in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh man, I realized that I don't even have the social media feed up to share or tag anybody. But anyway,
Oh.
um, and you said the question, why are we stuck in the beginning stages?
Yeah, why
Uh,
situationships feel
situation.
normal, why benefit or who benefits from
You
staying
know,
undefined.
there's going to be ooh man, this is a tough one. I'm going to throw a few of my thoughts out there,
Mhm.
and I think, and I'm not going to put them in any type of order, but I think number one is going to be fear.
Mhm.
I think number two is going to be, pressure. And when I say pressure, people tend to pull away when they're pressured into something. So I'm going to stick with fear and pressure right now.
Fear
Now,
and
when I say
pressure.
fear, I believe that the fear comes from, you know, some of the traumas that are experienced
Mhm.
when it comes to commitment. When I say traumas, we look at things like uh, domestic violence. We look at things like being cheated on, infidelity or unfaithfulness. Uh, we we look at traumas such as, if especially if we go into talking about marrying someone, we look at the traumas, or sometimes we look at other people's experience. When you look at someone who marries, then gets divorced and loses half of their
Mm.
assets in relationships.
Yeah.
If it looking at it from the male standpoint, there's no benefit in a relationship or a commitment in many cases. Uh, I'm not going to say that personally, that there's no benefit in a relationship, but a lot of men don't see the benefit in the commitment the way women see the benefit in commitment
Mhm.
in a relationship. But I definitely want to come back to that one.
All right. Well,
Um,
let's come back to it. We got a caller.
okay, go ahead.
Caller no caller last four numbers 7912. Go ahead. You're on the air. You well, on the show.
LaDonna?
Yes. Hi, good
Yeah,
evening.
Lorenzo. Yeah, this is Ron, and you know how much I enjoy your show on VON, Lorenzo, and I'm just enjoying this discussion. But you would be surprised as far as how important relationships are into our lives outside of our family. As far as you choosing to have relationships. I'm not talking about personal relationships,
Mhm.
but people that you spend time with, that share uh, similar.
Uh oh, did we lose him?
to
Yeah.
achieve
Okay.
the goals that you are striving for, and to be there for you during difficult times. So and I remember telling my son, it's very, very important as far as choosing relationships with your friend. But I do have to share this with you. Uh, as far as personal relationships, I was a young man. I was like in my 20s. And this guy, he was going to mortuary school. He worked at the county on the weekend. He would come back and say, "Wow, you'd be surprised of how many people end up in the more personal relationships. I mean, people drinking, fighting, this, and it stuck with me." He said,
Mhm.
"You be thinking you're going to get killed by somebody you don't know, but personal relationships are very important." But I'm
Hmm.
enjoying. Are you all going to it's gonna be a regular show? Because I'm really enjoying it. So
Yeah,
is this gonna be a regular?
yeah,
Y'all trying to put
every
it together?
Friday. Yep, every Friday. So Ron, earlier when we introduced the show, we were doing this show consistently, and then we fell off, for lack of a better term.
Okay,
um and
okay.
and when Lorenzo explained what has been happening since the last show, well, that's probably a part of it. He got picked up on Chicago Fire. I got picked up at WVON, and we
But
just
that's a good thing.
it's a great thing, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Yeah,
we
but y'all can still work this. Y'all look here. Y'all can still work this in. So, but
Yeah,
look
yeah, yeah.
again, man. Look here. Y'all sound great, and whenever you all are on, I will be listening because again, it is a very, very important thing to talk about as far because relationships go beyond our family. See, our family
Uh-huh.
we can't choose them. So,
mhm.
but as far as choosing friendships and different things like that, it
Hmm.
it it, it really means a lot. And so, great show. Thank you guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
And
you.
share the link that was
I
sent to
will.
you. I appreciate that.
I sure will.
All right. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
want to chime in,
Mhm.
with what he just said
Yeah.
because and you know what, I don't want to pour out my feelings or anything like that, but he sounded like, he was an older gentleman, an elder, right? when I got married, when I got married first, and I want y'all to hear this. I got married for the first time at 20 years old, right? And I've told this story before. And in many cases, you'll have people in your circle that say, "Oh, well, you too young to get married. Don't Why you getting married now?" Especially if it doesn't go well. People will try to, blame your reasoning of a failed marriage because you were too young. I disagree with that because when you're 20 and you're thinking about marriage, at least you're thinking about it. You want to get married at 20. And during that time, I was in a position in my life where I believed in love and trust, and being the head of a household, taking care of a family, going to work and coming home to a wife, right?
Mhm.
This was like and I'm not and I would like to think that I'm not the only man that had this type of dream. I think men dream of this type of thing. We have it, but I think we're in a position now where it's almost like a hopeless dream.
Mm.
Um when that didn't work out for me, you know, I mean, I fell in love with a woman that had of underlying issues
Mhm.
that and I hate talking about it because I don't I don't like to seem like I'm blaming someone, but what I want to say, if it's speaking on, on my own experience, is that I had this notion in my brain of love, marriage, family, partnership, and growth and success within the confines of a marriage. Um, when that didn't work out as a young kid, and you're just still a kid. As I've gotten older and I look at my kids, my kids are 23, 24, and 25. 20s is still young, but I look at my kids, they still believe in love. I hear them talk, they believe in love, right? And I try to protect that because it's not that I don't still believe in it, but I can feel the results of the trauma that
Mm,
I experienced. I have a new life experience now, a belief now because of those traumatic experiences or those failed experiences, that I thought existed in my mind. So when I say trauma or fear being one of those reasons, that those fears develop over traumatic life experiences,
mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, kinda like PTSD.
PT, yes, what is it? Post traumatic relationship syndrome, as they
Ooh.
call it. Yes.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think that's very admirable of you to seek being a husband, looking forward to having your partner, coming home to your wife. That vision just looks so desirable.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of us fall into that same realm of observation and hope.
Hmm.
And so I want to make sure that we stay on topic because I'm thinking about when I was a little girl and I used to put the towel around my head like I was getting married. And I envisioned myself getting married. And I'm trying to think, what was I thinking about getting married? I just really wanted to have someone who truly loved me
Right.
because
Right.
as a kid, I was bullied. I didn't have a lot of friends. The friends I had, I felt like truly loved me, and it was only a few. And my relationship with my mom was a very strained dynamic. So I wanted to have that love, you know, and I thought it was going to be sunshine and rainbows every day. you know.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I want my
Mm.
person. I want the person that will kiss me, hug me, show me affection, and I know they love me. I don't have to question it. But as I got older, I ended up having my son at 16, and when his father um was not part of the picture anymore, well, like right away, I felt betrayed. I felt like, that's just not possible. And then when I had my second child, I knew it wasn't possible because that person did the same thing. And of course, when you hear from your own family saying, "Well, everybody can't be wrong. It must be you."
Hmm.
That was the worst thing I could have heard because it wasn't. It was me. It was me being a teenage mother. That is very hard to swallow. So
Right.
as I got older, I was just afraid to get married. I didn't get married until I was in my 30s.
Mm.
Like 30, I think I was 34.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-oh. Sorry.
Is that you?
Yeah, I just pulled up the
Oh, you
link.
making sure it's
You
working.
sent me the link. Okay. I was
Okay,
like, oh,
good. It
there's the link.
works. It sounds
Okay.
good. But
Oh.
um, but yeah, I didn't get married until I was in my 30s. And then when I did get married, I think I got married for the wrong reasons. So I had already been PTSD'd before marriage and then PTSD'd after.
Uh-huh.
But I decided something. When I thought about this whole situationships, I thought about how situationships can be a new way of referring to having your person but not admitting to it. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
you've ever been with someone that pretended like they didn't want a relationship but they did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think that is. I think it's almost like saying we're in a situation ship so you don't have to say we're in a relationship.
Right.
That's the part that nobody says out loud. Situationships, sometimes they work perfectly, but do they really?
Right. Right.
It works perfectly for someone who doesn't want to commit. They want companionship and they don't want responsibility, intimacy, no accountability. How
Yeah.
about support with no obligation?
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Uh you know, you said something that was kind of funny to me when you talked about putting the rag on your head and with the hair.
The veil,
Yeah. If we can think back when we were children, right? And I say children because children was when we were children, we had this broad imagination for things. And we had a vision of what things looked like. And we acted those things out in play. When we look at when we think back, and I believe we all at one point in time played house. And I'm talking about the played house as children doing child things, right? It was always you always had whoever was the mom or the wife was making the fake meal, or she had the easy
the
bake
mud
oven,
pie
the mud pie and everything, and then you had the little boy who was coming home from work,
with a hammer.
right, with the little hammer or whatever that was our vision that we had, our idea of what marriage looked like as children. We knew that there was somebody at home keeping the house and there was somebody outside of the house, bringing home the bacon, bringing home the money, that was out doing the work. So we had a general idea of what family looked like as children. Fast forwarding to adulthood, it's like we have to ask the question, what happened?
Mm.
What seed was planted that has put us in the position that we're in now, that we're in situationships? Where are we trying to go? Where did we turn that corner to where now we've lost that or thrown away that part of our imagination?
As I chew on this slice of pizza,
Hmm.
I feel like I have an answer. I think that our dreams get tainted along the way. Someone thinks they know the answer better than you, and they're not even in the same position you want to be in. Too many naysayers, people who have never married. I had a friend who never had a husband. No one ever proposed to her, but she had all kind of marriage advice, and it wasn't good.
Uh-huh.
Needless to say, I had to cut our friendship because I didn't want that type of poison in my ear.
Mm.
And as soon as I even sounded remotely close to ending our friendship, she made a comment and said, I'm going to be around when that so and so isn't.
Mm.
You're already
Yeah.
planning for the demise of my
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
I couldn't be around that. But if you think about it, the majority of us as women who come into marriages that have not been raised around a healthy marriage allow for those naysayers and those negative Nellies to give advice that they shouldn't be giving because
Uh-huh.
misery loves company. I'm single. I can't find nobody. I want you to be single and can't find nobody. Let's go out. I don't want to lose my kick it buddy.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, when I'm in a relationship, I don't kick it.
When you say kick it, what are we talking about?
Like, oh, I forgot you're not from Chicago. Kick it means go out and hang out with your girls.
Okay, it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's
Or
the same thing.
whoever.
That I don't think
Yeah.
that's a Chicago thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if you knew what I was referring to, but
Well, what I'm saying is that
yeah.
when we talk about being in a relationship, people have their own definitions
Mm-hmm.
of certain terms and what that means. Just because you're in a relationship, and I wanted to go back to that. See, when we talk about fear, let's talk about the fear. We're gonna step away from trauma, the traumas of relationships for a minute. Let's look at what causes fear in relationships. You have people we get into uh, um, relationships, or what you have people that look at relationships as sometimes almost being a box. See, we never ask the question, and I always say this from the male perspective. if you're a single male, is you have to ask the question when someone wants to commit, what do you as a woman, what do you have to offer me that I can't already have as a single man,
Mm.
right? What can you give me that I'm not already getting out in the world being single? What do you have to offer to make me say, you know what, I'm going to give all of this up to commit to just being with you and you only? I know a lot of times we like to say, oh, this disease free and not getting out here and dealing with yeah, you can escape all that madness of, the possibilities of dealing with a woman who's lying about her relation, not being in a relationship. So you got these love triangles that happen unbeknownst to you,
Mm.
which I believe is one of the reasons behind a lot of violence in our community. These love triangles that happen where people are not being honest about their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of things that will protect you being in that box, but I don't think not being giving up your freedom to go out and have fun and kick it, as you called it, as being part of that box. So when one of the things that causes the fear of relationships, that okay, now that I'm in this relationship, I can't go kick it, I can't go be human and have fun, with the girls, or have fun with the guys. Yes, there may be some, even when when you're allowed to do that, you're probably gonna have some boundaries. But that goes back to the question, is what is it that what is it as a woman that you can do or say to me that will convince me to give up all of this freedom to step in this box? And for some relationships, the box is bigger than other relationships.
I can see that. I
You
can
see what I'm
see the box
saying?
being bigger.
That
We have
because
a
you can.
caller, just so
Okay.
you know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take the caller.
All right. If your phone number ends in 7641, you are live on Relationshiping.
Hello there. I am Sherelle calling from California.
Woo,
Hello,
Callie.
Sherelle.
Hello. Well, there's two things I like to say. One of the things I tell my children is we come in this world as a blank slate,
Mm,
like a canvas. What you put on there, you can decide what you want to color it, what color,
Mm.
what you want to believe, how you want to decorate it.
mm,
So, like children come into this world honest. We all come in this world honest.
mm-hmm,
People teach you how to lie
Mm-hmm.
out of fear. For
How to.
example, if you out of fear, people start lying.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Fear of punishment or what the consequence of the action is going to be. Just take, for example, if a kid breaks a vase at the house and your mother come and say, "Did you break my vase?" And you say, "Yes, I broke the vase," and mom swats you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next time you run through the house and you break the vase or the table, and mom comes, "Did you break the table? Did you break the vase?" You're going to say no, because you do not want to get swatted.
Mm-hmm.
How we start teaching our children to be dishonest. So if your mom said to you, if you broke the vase, and she said, "Oh, next time you need to be more careful. Please do not run through here." See what happened when you broke the vase.
mm.
So the next time you run through and you break the table, mom's going to like, "Did you break the table?" You're going to say, "I was running. I'm sorry, and I broke the table." I say, "Please don't do this." And she's teaching you to be honest.
Yes.
Do you think we have though that do you think we can unlearn something like that, Cheryl? If we were taught to be timid about being honest, do you think we can get to a point as adults to just be honest?
Yes. When you no longer fear the consequence, then you can be honest.
Oh, that's deep.
You know, I'm gonna say this, and some of you, listening out there, you're probably going to be able to agree with me on this. And women, yeah, you may not know about it too much because this usually happens in the male circle a lot.
Mm-hmm.
In many cases, well, a lot of cases, we get in trouble a lot in our relationships. I remember growing up watching my uncles get in trouble by my aunts. I remember, even, in my last marriage, I've been married twice. In my last marriage, I got in trouble. And men we don't like getting in trouble by our wives. And it's like, when you I, I remember falling asleep after hanging out with the fellas,
Mm-hmm.
one night and woke up and saw over 20 text messages and voicemails in my phone
Oh.
in that orange hue of the sun coming up.
Oh, Jesus.
The ride home was horrible. The ride home was horrible. I remember an incident, where, like we used to try to hang out with only married couples. And I remember we were over a get together and we were in the basement and one of the fellas, the family that was hosting the event, we was downstairs, the fellas, we downstairs watching the game, talking guy stuff. And oh man, his wife came in. It was something that he didn't do or didn't get something that we needed. And to hear her go in on him, we sitting there like, act like we don't even hear what's going on. She going in on him, we drinking and everything like we don't hear. And then when she go back upstairs, we look and it was that odd silence. In on him, we sitting there like,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I can appreciate that story.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a group of people in my backyard and got late, like 2, 3 in the morning. And I turned to one of the gentlemen because I realized he was a married man. I didn't really know him, but I said, it was getting 2, 3, and everybody was just talking. And I said to him, where is your wife at that you can be out to 2, 3 in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even say nothing, but forward the tape a little bit. Within a year or so, he was already divorced from that woman and set to marry another one.
Mm-hmm. And and
I don't know
go ahead.
because I've seen it on the internet.
Uh-huh.
I said, well, I guess I see where the wife was. She probably was not happy he didn't come home to 3, 4 in the morning.
Or they might have been at a point where, they had already checked out of the marriage.
Well,
that's what I think.
But see, the point I want to make is this.
I was like, he's sitting here like with no worries, just hanging out, talking, and it's getting later and later and later.
Mm-hmm. Well, the point I want to make is this: is that it's okay to have boundaries, and it's okay to make mistakes in a relationship, because a mistake doesn't mean an end all. See, the scary part of getting in relationships is that you can no longer make any mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes it scary.
What's a mistake? A mistake is like your lips accidentally went on top of somebody else's lips. How's that a mistake?
Well, I'm not speaking on that behalf.
Those are conscious choices, not mistakes.
And those things, but those things happen too. It's like, it's like, okay, what do you do at this point? It's like, what do you do at that point? I've known of marriages that have survived that. I take my hat off to those who actually work through those type of situations. Should they happen? No, they should not. Do they happen? Yes, they do. Do people survive? Relationships survive after them? Yes, they have. Have many of them ended over those incidents? Yes, they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they have. Like my last marriage, my ex-wife was unfaithful, but I think we could have worked through it. Most people, they ain't trying to work through it. The marriage ain't that valuable to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that valuable to them. And one of the things that I learned over the years is that, and I've said this before to people that I've watched people go through these situations, and I tried to help them work through, because I love to see, I love marriage, I love seeing it, So if there's something I can say to help someone save it or get closer to saving a marriage, I'm game for trying to give whatever conversation I can give. Is that one of the things I learned about marriages or situations that happen where there was some infidelity or unfaithfulness? One of the things I noticed is that it's not so much the incident that people worried about. It was always the question always came up, do you love this person or do you love that person? It was never the situation, what the actual act that took place, that maybe you kissed someone or slept with someone. It was always, do you love that person? And like I said, I don't want to say that it was a mistake that was made. It was, to me, it's being caught in a moment of weakness, right? And I say that because you never want to put yourself in a situation or a space in which you are weak.
Mm.
And I think sometimes we do that. It's like if you're an alcoholic and you're trying to stop drinking, why in the hell are you going to a bar or going into a liquor
Mm-hmm.
store? If you're addicted to sex, which I think that is an addiction. Why are you putting yourself in a situation that's going to cause you to be unfaithful? You don't put yourself in those type of situations and where you're weak like that. And those are the things that I tend to try to explain to people. Like well, I ain't gonna say people, but to close friends, when I watch them go through marital problems or situations, or trying to solve problems within their marriage, I try to add some outside
Counsel.
counsel. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that there's sometimes the standard can be so high when you get married that it's unattainable, and that's why our marriage rates or divorce rates, not even marriage rates, divorce rates are so high. But my father said famously, I'm going to say throughout our relationship, if you can talk it out, you can work it out. And I'll never
Mm-hmm.
forget that. If you can talk it out, you can work it out. But if you can't talk it out, then it's going to be harder to work it out. But it doesn't have to be the end all be all because someone made, as Lorenzo said, a mistake. Um, if you Have you ever been in a situationship?
I'm gonna say I've had a relationship and a person made a mistake, and I called them on it, and I said, what were you doing? Said, are you going to be mad if I tell you where I was? I said, no, I'm not going to be mad. And I guess he couldn't accept it. I wasn't angry, upset about it. That he ended up having to excuse himself out of the relationship because he couldn't understand that I was not even concerned
No.
that he messed up.
You think he thought you didn't care because you didn't?
No,
He,
I think what it was, he had a big, big ego. I think what he realized was he disappointed himself.
Yeah.
That, he had danced the dance and, did all he could do to try to prove himself to be worthy. And in the end, I guess he found out he was not worthy of me.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
I'm saying to somebody on the phone one day, like they were asking about me, and they said, "Oh, Pollyanna's going to be okay."
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he felt like she's too goody two shoes, and I don't deserve her.
Oh.
So
And
that he messed
what did
up.
he end up doing? Did he move on to someone else or?
Well, he didn't even have the courage to do that properly.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? The person that he messed up with, I had a conversation with her. She called me, and I said to her, I said, "Well, what's about to happen is he's about to be moving in there with you."
Oh.
And she, "Oh, no, 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 no. This is just for me and my children." I said, "Well, it looks like he's going to be moving in." Because my mom always taught me, if a person can stay away one night somewhere, they might as well stay on there. They might as well stay 2, 3, 4, and stay. Because
Wow.
if you could stay nights, you can stay 2, 3, and you might as well move on in. So in the end, he didn't have the courage to say nothing to me. He
Mm.
pretended like he was going to help his sister in a situation. And I found out he ended up in an Airbnb within a mile from my place. In the middle of the night, I took all the stuff he left behind and I packed it up and set it outside the Airbnb.
Oh, geez.
Mm.
Because I was like, why should I be nursing somebody's things over here? If they're not really here, they're going to be somewhere else. They might as well come get all their junk. Why
Mm-hmm.
should I be taking care of it and housing it? So I packed it up, put it in the truck nicely, wrote their name on the boxes, and sat them outside by the mailbox.
So what if he didn't stay the whole night? What if he just stayed part of the day?
Oh,
Was
that didn't matter because, like I said, I went on over there myself and knocked on the door. Then I just said, well, I'm not even going to be mad because I have been watching this program on TV.
mm,
Can't remember the name of it.
Well, I got some comments here that I want to read. It looks like Mike Burris said he wanted to be a family man at 19 years old,
Mm-hmm.
which was really sweet. Mike Burris also
yes.
said that I believe men know what they want and women know what they don't want. Facts.
Exactly.
Facts.
Mm.
And then Tank Commander Zulu
Oh, what's up, Tank? Yes.
says people lie out of
Okay.
conformity.
Yep.
People lie out of conformity. He also laughed at something somebody said. And then he said, what do you mean by checked out of the marriage? Oh, okay, that's for me. So, checked out of the marriage means that you're mentally not there anymore. You have
Yeah.
made it up in
Maybe.
your mind that it is over between the two of you, even though you are physically and legally still married. That's what I mean by that. And then Dust for Tears said, good evening, folks. Tank,
Wonder what they were laughing about.
that was like 20, well, 13, several minutes ago. It tells you how long ago it was said. Um, Tank Commander Zulu says, marriage is simple, not for everyone, and that's all right. That's true. All right,
Well, I would not marry nobody else
oh, all right.
because I might be ready and they're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mhm.
But it
So
depends. We can't
so
assume that that no one is ready for
so
you.
I guess listen to what Brother Tank was saying. You know, I, yes, marriage may not be for everyone, but my thing is this: if marriage is not for you or for someone, at the end of the day, we're still human, meaning that we still have human desires and things of that nature, which is natural for us. How do we separate the person that marriage is for and the
Mm.
person that
Is not for
marriage is not
marriage.
for, right? Because
Yeah, you can see
now,
early.
I'm sorry.
I think you can probably tell within yourself. You can see people who they are early on.
And they'll
Sometimes,
tell you.
yeah,
Yep.
I think I'm gonna tell you this. I ain't trying to put my business out there, but and maybe it'll be for another show. During my single years, there were some things I put to the test because women. One of the things was this: when women would always say, "Oh, look, just be honest,"
Huh.
because honest, sometimes we get scared. I'm gonna be you be like, "What does that mean?" As a man, you're like, "Okay, what we trying to translate? What does that mean? Just be honest. Like, does that mean if I'm honest, I won't get in trouble? I mean, would you not want to talk?" And I chose the honesty route because I had nothing to lose. I'm like, uh, if it fails for me, I'm living alone. I'll just be going home alone. And I chose the honesty route, and it actually works.
It
It
did.
worked like 90% of the time. It's 90% of the time. I told the woman, hey, I ain't trying to be in no relationship. This is what I'm about right now, and it worked.
Mm.
It worked. And it was that honesty route. And what I'm saying when I say that, when you have the person that marriage is not for, and you said, because I think if I recall correctly, you said that people know.
Uh-huh.
Some people put their best foot forward or
Yeah,
sell you an image just so they can get what they want
Or
for the
what they
day
think
or
they
for the
want.
week or
Yeah.
for, you know.
that's
Hmm.
what happened. What I was trying to say. Thank you. You said it very well. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
say it that well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to my friend. He played himself out. He couldn't hold up. They said you can fake it for 3 months, but you can't fake who you are for long term.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely right.
He didn't understand that I was going to make him have to work the long term
Mm.
to have. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
on the one knee. He did the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I said yes, but I started seeing things I didn't like in his character that were coming out after the 3 months, 3 week time.
Oh yeah, it'll start slipping
That
up.
he couldn't hold on to the image he had presented. Started messing up, slipping up. So I said, "Oh, I'm not marrying this person."
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
down
got.
to the point that his family was like, "When are you guys getting married? When are you guys getting married?" I was like,
Let me get
I
to this
already knew
comment
it was
real
me.
quick. This comment
Yeah.
says, "Yes, now that I am older and think about past relationships, I do agree. Once you realize you can still do it on your own, you can become a stronger commodity." And
Mm-hmm.
that's from Brian Stanley. He also goes on to say, "Marriage has to be with your best friend." Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that could be dangerous. But IMO, what does IMO mean? In my opinion, there we go. I had to think about it. In my opinion, it can be difficult at times, but for the most of the time, it's good. I say that now because my marriage is good. Oh,
Mm.
that's so
Mm.
sweet. That is so sweet. Just, I want to keep everybody in mind that we're talking about situationships, the situationship epidemic, and then we evolved into relationships and liars and people presenting themselves as they cannot hold presenting their, should I say, representatives. But you can give us a call. The phone number
Yeah.
is 312 357 5141. You'll be live and dropped right into the conversation.
And you know what's funny too, and this just hit me, just now. When you talk about situationships, because they exist, there's a lot of them out there. Is you have people who are in relationships or committed relationships who despise the person that's in a situationship. Got nothing good to say about that person. They're in a situationship. It's sometimes you find it hard. You find it hard to get any good advice about just being in a dating relationship. If it's like if
Situationship. That's the definition.
I'm sorry, say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
What's a situationship? I missed the definition of it. What's that?
Situationships are when you have someone that you casually date, no commitment. That's what a situationship is. So
Yeah.
in that may include intimacy, that may include everything that comes with dating and being committed, except you're not dating. I mean, except you're not committed.
It's like a
Friend.
relationship, or
Friend with benefits.
it's like a friendship with all the benefits of a relationship.
Friends with benefits. That's what it
That's
is.
it's kind of what it is. It's like after a month go by, you sit next to each other talking about what are we doing? And the other person is like, what do you mean? No, I mean,
Mm.
what are we doing? We've been here, you know, he putting his shoes on,
Wow.
socks and everything. And it's like you got that thought in your mind, what are you doing? What are we doing?
Well, I have a friend, but no benefits.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been friends for a long time.
Uh-huh.
No benefits involved.
And some
Well, we got another caller. let's
Okay.
let's go to, and you can hang
okay.
on, but I'm just want to make sure that we are definitely giving everybody a chance to speak. We got ending in 4404. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Relationshiping.
Hello, good evening. Can you
Yes,
guys hear me okay?
yes,
Yes,
sir.
perfectly fine.
Oh, I can hear
And
him.
this, this is Tank Commander Zulu, the one who
Oh,
did leave the
yeah.
comments.
What up, Tank?
How are you guys doing?
Do
Wonderful. Hey, my man Lorenzo, salute to you, brother
Yes, sir.
Lorenzo.
Salute.
I'm glad to see you still doing God's work in your way. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
sir, brother. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the show. I was actually in the gym working out when I got the text message. I was listening in the gym,
Uh huh.
so the comments I was making kind of had to be kind of short. But I just got out and I wanted to call in
Uh huh.
to kind of underline what I was saying, the remarks I made.
Uh huh.
The laugh out loud was a comment you made, Brother Lorenzo, about when you were married and hanging out with the brothers and sunlight start to creep up on you. That's
Yes.
I was laughing at that because yeah, that can happen. That can happen, right?
Yes.
I did also ask a question. Um, when the comment was made that about a person checking out of a marriage, they've already checked out, and the young lady did give her response, and I really respect that response. I always have had a problem with someone saying that they emotionally checked out. Um, I've been married for 36 years now.
mm,
I got married young. Of course, I've been in the military. I was in the military. I met my wife when I was young. I was 19. I got married at 20 years old.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that for anyone to look at that as a particular accolade or anything. But what it was a hasty decision that I made, and I was still young, right? Um, I didn't know my wife like I know her today. But in order to know her, we had to really go through some trials and tribulations. So
Mm-hmm.
when I always hear this emotionally checked out, I think I really don't look at it that way. I wouldn't use those particular sets of words to describe marriage when marriage go through rough times. I think sometimes one companion can begin to outgrow another sometimes, but the investment of marriage is more than just one person's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that sometimes that when your spouse or your partner starts to grow another way, and you can't really follow that growing emotionally, it seems like you can't be there for them or they can't be there for you. This is the real crux of what a marriage is kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
I learned this, and this is what I learned. I learned this from my great grandparents, right? We're talking about, I'm in my 50s, I'm 56. So my great grandparents, I was blessed to be able to see how they lived in the household. Uh, they slept in separate rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Along
mm,
the way, along the way, their emotional connection that they had started to disintegrate a bit.
mm.
So where they were arguing, but instead of dissolving the marriage, they decided that marriage was so important to them, and not for everybody, to them, that it wasn't set upon them to divorce or separate from each other and go on with another life, but to work this out because they had children as well. Uh, they had separate bedrooms. When I was doing a visit, I go to my great grandfather's room and talk to him, and go to my great grandmother's room and talk to them. But they would talk to me about the importance of making your marriage work.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned this though: chemistry is something that cannot be imitated.
That's right.
You cannot imitate chemistry trying to conform to the status of the world. Like, well, I'm married. Like when I said I'm married for 36 years, that comes with a whole long story now.
Yeah.
That comes with a lot of me not doing the right thing, me being young, me falling down, me emotionally feeling I'm not connected to this woman. But I understood the root values of marriage that was presented to me through my great grandparents.
Mm.
Been able to raise my sons. I have three sons. Lorenzo, you already know the situation with that. They needed me more than I needed to feel like I'm going to be free and I want this in life. I want that. I believe sometimes we chase happiness, not understanding what really happiness is.
Yeah.
It's like a dog chasing its tail sometimes. You
Mm-hmm.
think about it, what if he catches it? He only hurts himself.
Mm-hmm.
And me also being a minister, I'm a pastor. A lot of counseling that I do with men and women who are in a fragile place of their marriage. I always ask them to consider what was it that was so you were so enamored about the person. If it was just their physical prowess or physical looks, you have to understand that's going to fade one day. Can you still love that person the same way if she was a 5'6", big hips, pretty eyes, and everything like that? Or he wasn't 6, whatever you like, and muscular and everything? Could you love that person when they're at their weakest points, physically, mentally, and even spiritually? And I often say that, like I say, chemistry, very few people are married today and still married based off of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're,
And
based, they're trying to conform. Conformity is the thing, the world, for you to be looked at. And I'm not going to take, I'm a preacher, I'm not going to take it too much more time. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and get back to it. But conformity is one of the biggest enemies of marriage.
mm-hmm.
Not conforming to the standards of the world is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Marriage is more of a relationship that I've learned that my wife is actually a part of me, right?
Mhm.
That some things, if you're a person that finds yourself in shape one time and then you got out of shape, you don't look at your body the same. You almost can become depressed about how you look. But the answer to that is, well, let me start eating better. Let me start working out, and you can actually change the parts of your body that you were once in love with, that you fell out of love with, right? And I know that's kind of more of a loose example, but I think people can grasp that understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Marriage is work. Um, Chemistry is every marriage doesn't have that initial chemistry. Some marriages and all marriages consistently have to be worked on. And mistakes are gonna be made both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, but
Re-
thank you guys. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was going
Mm-hmm.
to ask you, Reverend. I was going to ask you, do,
Oh,
do you do marriage counseling?
yes, I do.
Yeah. So
Yes, I
when
do.
when couples come to you and they say, and obviously you've heard this term, checked out of the marriage. When they say to you that
Mm-hmm.
they have or their spouse has checked out of the marriage, what do you say to them in short?
Well, I try to correct that language. I don't like to use checked out of the marriage. It's just that your marriage is going through a phase that's unfamiliar to you.
Mm.
So I initially try to disregard the connotation of checked out, and then have the couple re-examine some things. Let's re-examine and let's see where you really are with the marriage. And
Yeah.
then saying some things. Some things are hard to say.
Yeah.
You may have hurt someone you didn't mean to, and I heard you guys talking about it. You may have slept with someone else. You got to be real about the thing, right? You may have violated the marriage, right? Now, some people can accept that violation, and others cannot.
Mm-hmm.
But now you got to go. You got to understand when you take those vows, and it says in sickness and in health, for good, for rich or for poor. Those we say those things, but until those situations really hit us, we don't
Mm.
understand the
Yes.
severity of that. You
That's
know,
true.
so
Now,
marriage is for richer and poorer, sickness and health.
yeah, I'm
Go
thinking
ahead.
about what you're saying, everything you're saying, and Cheryl, I want to get you looped back in too. But everything you're saying sounds like a pathway to restore the relationship. But here in
Yeah,
Chicago, because I noticed you have an out of state area code, here in
yeah.
Chicago, the
I'm in
billboards
Missouri, Grandview, Missouri.
the billboards look like it's okay. You can get a divorce. You see divorce attorneys, you see billboards and marketing and advertising and even radio advertisement that talks a lot about divorce.
Right,
And it seems like our society and community and now family have accepted, hey, if plan A doesn't work, there's always a plan
Mm-hmm.
B. There's always an exit plan, an exit strategy. I think about how I was raised. And my mother would tell me I didn't need a man. All this independent women, the songs say it, the music, the programming, all of the media is telling Black communities that they don't need to be family anymore. And it's like going up a hill. So, but when I look
Right.
back, when I think about my great grandparents, they were together until they died. My
Right.
my
Right.
my great
Right.
aunt, they were together till they died. But you hear other people saying, I just can't do it or won't do it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You make it like you're hitting on some very key points, and I don't want to, I hope this will help people. But like you said, that in a sense, divorce, even the Bible underlines, you can give a bill of divorce. Nobody deserves to be treated unfairly or unkindly,
Yeah.
right? Now, if you're in a situation, I would tell anybody this, and even in my counseling, if you, let's say hypothetically, it's a situation where the man is abusing the woman, or, and I've seen this, the woman abusing the man, because the truth of it is that a lot of women don't want to talk about some of the abuse that they can produce in a marriage.
And neither do the
Whether it's
men.
physical,
Yeah.
whether it's physical, whether it's psychological, or whether it is economical. And I mean, when the finances are not right, and if you just, I've seen the cases where the woman was kind of controlling the money and spending money and hiding money and doing those things. And when the man found out, of course, it caused a problem.
Yeah.
That's not being fair to your spouse in the relationship. So, if you are being abused in a way, divorce is not evil. I want to make sure we understand that, because a lot of preachers scare people with, oh, divorce, you married to this person for the rest of your life. And no, that's not what the word of God says. Now, if you are in a situation where you have given your spouse a bill of divorce, and now you've gone on with your life, the reason, if you're repeating the same thing over and you're getting the same result, well, we know that's not wise. That's not wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
In the world, they call it insanity. I've counseled some people who got divorced, and then 2 years later they want to get back together. And see, a lot of times people don't think about what's the percentage really rate of people who get divorced and get back together, because it may be higher than people think. It may be higher than people think. And then some people are so hurt and bitter that they can't see. They'd rather marry a dog or a cat before they get back with their ex,
Well, a catty is loyal.
But, I mean, to me, loyalty, I'm the kind of person, if you both have a place where we can come together to, like I like to say, if we're both believers in God, me personally, I would never advise somebody to marry someone that has a different religious belief than you, because that's kind of a place where division can start. I'm not saying that. That's just my advice. That's not scripture or nothing like that. But it's just my advice. But when you have a common place where you both can come and you both can say, well, listen, if I'm right with God and you're right with God, then we have a great chance of making this marriage work. Just like you said, my great grandparents, they were married for 70 something years. Divorce is not like it is now, but you got to understand, the enemy also, he lurks in these places. And I'm going to speak on the church first, and particularly in the church, right? There's money to be made in divorce. That's why you see the billboards.
Oh yeah, they're making bank. They are making a lot of money because these divorce attorneys are constantly in court for the obvious, and
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say they also have. I've heard stories of divorce attorneys being pretty toxic, making comments to their clients about opposing clients or the other side, just to make things drag on a little bit longer to get more money. And that's unfortunate. I'm not saying that's all attorneys, all divorce attorneys, but it can be a slimy field to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And like you said, it doesn't, they're not worried about the Black community at all. We have to be the ones concerned about our community, about ourselves.
That's right.
Even if we're divorced, Now, even if we're divorced, that's why I don't beat up on people who are divorced at all. But
Mm-hmm.
when there's children involved, as a parent, whether you're the mother or father, you still have an obligation to make that relationship work. You're still in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Long as that child is there, you're going to still have to be in relationship. The
You
relationship should not turn into something bitter or turn into where the child is being used as a weapon.
you talking about in
You
once
know,
you've been divorced, right?
yes, well, once you've been divorced, is what
Oh,
I'm
see,
saying.
I
Yes,
need to
yes.
come for that counseling.
Yeah, I mean, because there's, there's a lot of, I mean, because feelings get involved and, frustration and things, but I constantly go back because I think I've been blessed to be able to see a black family. My great grandfather was one of the first black business owners in the South in Louisiana, where I'm from. He was one of the first black business owners, and he always kind of taught we will learn how important it was to be African American men and women,
Oh yeah.
and how important it was to keep the family together. So divorce is just another way. Sometimes, if it's not done the right way, is a way of breaking up the family. And we see that too much, whether because the situation didn't work or they got into a relationship and a child is born. My son, for example, my oldest son, has what they call out of wedlock. My granddaughter, which I love her to death. We love her and we love her unconditionally. Him and the mother didn't get along. It just didn't work out for them, but they still have to have a relationship because something more valuable than their feelings is involved, the life of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when we think about it that way, it makes us kind of, put
Right.
aside our personal feelings.
Right.
Absolutely. Lorenzo, I want you to jump in. I know he's taking notes for sure.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
But I want you to jump
Oh, man,
in.
we're going to talk to
And
me anytime.
brother, and it's like I would love to have you back on. I'm gonna try to make sure I do tag you when we do,
Miss
come
LaDonna,
on for
can
the
I say?
show. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah.
go ahead.
Look,
So
I'm
one,
going to jump off, man. I'm going to jump in the shower because I just came from the gym. I wanted to chime in, but
Yeah,
get with me
Okay.
he's
to
still he's
I'll
still
be on
Okay.
worked
anytime.
up. Yeah, he's
Okay.
still worked up. Go ahead, Cheryl.
well, the thing I want to share about the history of marriage, as a lot of things have been planted as seeds. When our people, our ancestors were slaves. Slaves were not allowed to have marriages, legal marriages. That's why they invented jump in the broom because they were not allowed to have a legal marriage. So they just did the jump in the broom, and that just signified to everybody that they have decided to go together as a family and build a household together,
Mm-hmm.
marriage.
Yes.
So
I
a lot of times, things planted in the subconscious of our culture
But
are
see,
playing out.
at some point, Cheryl, I'm thinking we are trying to navigate away from our history beginning at the days of when our ancestors were enslaved. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
before that,
yeah,
what were we doing? So it's
yeah.
like
That's true
we
because
have to if we can unlearn if and let me just let me just paint this picture a little bit. If we can unlearn what we were doing before we would jump in the broom, then we can unlearn jumping the broom and not being able to get married. You know what I'm saying? And because we have not, we have gravitated into the ways of our oppressor and how they see our families.
mm,
We've
hmm
already gone through here in Illinois the man in the house rule. Lorenzo and I have talked about that immensely because the government has taken over the narrative of all communities, especially the black community. So when you've taken over the narrative and said this is how we want them to live and this is how we make money off of them when they live this way, then that's the way they're going to construct everything. So if
well,
you
let me
mhm,
say this because this is what they say. When you do not know your history, you're failed to repeat it. Like
yeah.
also, like we just have a New Year came and some lady texted me and said, "Am I going to church on New Year's Eve?" I said, "No." I said, first of all, white churches don't do that. That's a black thing. She was like, huh? I said, do you know the history of watchtower service,
Mhm.
watch night service? I said, what that was slaves going to church because they were waiting for the Emancipation Proclamation information to come. So they was there waiting and waiting and waiting for the news to come that slaves was freed. I said, so we don't even, why are we even doing that anymore?
Well, I'm
There's,
celebrating the emancipation. I'm
There's
celebrating
no need
having
to have
a day above, huh?
there's no
Right.
need to have that New Year's Eve service at church anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I was
I
out
get that.
kicking it, even though I said I don't kick it anymore. But
Yeah, somebody asked me was I going, and a girl texted me, and she asked me some other stuff. I said that's a black thing. I said, you know what? I do not even prescribe to a lot of the things that black culture does anymore. She was
what?
like,
And
okay. I
So,
said,
what
yeah.
culture do you subscribe to?
I said, you know, as far as that, I said, I do more of things on a spiritual level, not
Mm-hmm.
on a black religious level. I
Mm-hmm.
don't attend churches and I don't do no watch service.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
okay.
Lorenzo.
Yeah, yeah, I just wanted to jump in on this real quick. So I definitely so I don't forget. I kind of tried to open up. I opened up a spreadsheet so I can remember what I wanted to say. There's a couple things I did wanted to go back and kind of touch on. I know with what Brother Tank was saying. Um, my great grandparents and grandparents slept in separate rooms as well, and
Hmm.
I'm sure that worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
But in my last marriage, one of the most powerful things for my wife and I was coming together in the same bed at night because we
Hmm.
could have a fallout, and we've had many of them, and it was that coming to bed at night. We probably wouldn't talk the rest of the day, but it was that coming to bed at night. And I remember laying in the bed in the dark waiting for her to get out of the shower because
Hmm.
I was excited for her to come back to the bed. And we might not even say anything, but it was that nonverbal apology when her foot would rub my foot, or
Hmm.
her hip would touch my hip, or her butt would touch mine. Whoever was apologizing, like we would lay, our backs might be turned to each other, but we're laying there, and it was just not being able to touch each other. And then it's like in your with nonverbal communication in the dark, it's like, okay, who's gonna make the first move? Who's gonna apologize first? Who's gonna touch who first? So what I'm saying is that that may have worked for them, but I'm not too sure that that would have worked for me or for us at the time, because that apology, and it was nonverbal, meant so much, because then we were able to go into talk. So it would be that slight bit of humor that would come in. "Oh, okay, so you talking to me now?" You know what I'm saying? But we would go into a conversation that resolves the issue that we had previously before that night. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So when you find those moments that work for you, those are the moments that you have to embrace. Like I said, if I ever had to sleep on the couch, I don't know if I would have survived. I don't know if I could have did it. I think it would have eaten me up most of the night.
Mm. That's the purpose of it. It's to make you suffer.
Well, yeah,
Are you looking to get married again?
it's in. You know what? I would like to think that yes, I would always say yes, and I'm gonna tell you why I say yes to it, because I know how good it felt. See, like, I hated the fact that after our divorce, man, we didn't talk for almost 10 years, right? I just recently started
Hmm.
having conversation with her because that even ate me up inside, to know that I knew of people who still had conversations with their ex and I didn't. But I can honestly say that she gave me a really good experience on what it felt like to be in a marriage where I experienced what felt like love. Like I said, I think when you're in a relationship, and I think infidelity or that breaking of the vows, like that breaking of trust, is going to really test how much you love a person. That is the ultimate test. And once I realized that, man, I still want this woman, even though it tore me up, it changed my personality, but it was like, I felt like in my mind, I felt like, well, God is going to do something to fix this. So it's like when she filed for divorce, that hit me even harder. But I just felt like over time that I would get over it. You can't make a person, but then but still, even then, I thought that okay, you know, th- this can take a turn. So there's people who remarry. Because we were together for so long, 19 years. I thought that time would have built some type of bond between us, that there was some inseparation that probably existed. So that's what.
Well, how much time have gone by now
Oh
since
man,
the
I think
divorce?
it. I think it's probably been. Let's see, 9 years.
I
My
was going
my
to say,
oldest daughter is 25. So yeah, it's been about, yep, 9 years. Because I think, yeah, she was 16. Yeah, 9 years.
So what do you do? What do you do when 9 years have gone by and you're in a situation where you felt probably the safest and 9 years have gone by?
What do you mean? What do you do?
I mean, if I know for a fact that just I think yesterday we had a topic at the station about you never see the same person twice, even if it's in the same person. And I remember being in a situation where I was in a relationship that was probably a very healthy relationship. Not probably, it was a very healthy relationship. And when it didn't work out, when I decided to leave, um I figured it would just come back again.
Mm,
I thought it would happen again. I even thought we would get back together again, but it didn't
mm,
happen. And years went by, and I spent a lot of time regretting the day that I walked away.
Mm,
And the only thing that, I knew that like you said, time will heal, and time did heal, but you don't forget.
right.
You always remember, and it can hinder me, or it had hindered me, which is why it took me so long to even decide to get married. I was
mm.
still there. You know what I'm saying? There was a piece of me that was still there. So what do you do?
You know, there's not a
Well,
whole lot you can do but try to move on and try to preserve as much of that relationship as you can. I know sometimes I know, even when I think of me saying this, it's like, because I've had these conversations before, I felt like I was being hypocritical to myself because I didn't put forth a whole lot of effort to preserve, you know, a relation, even though with us even having kids together, putting forth a lot of effort or taking the initiative, should I say, to preserve some sort of relationship between the mother of my kids that I probably should have. And
mm,
like I said, that's due to my own selfishness and pride and stuff like that, and what I felt like was protecting my own feelings and emotions and stuff like that. Because even now, I struggle with trying to develop some type of relationship. Even now, I still fight with myself. And I like to
I'm
say there, I hear those demons in my head telling me what she might be thinking or what she might be feeling. And she may not be thinking or feeling that at all. But I like to call those demons or ghosts.
excuse me, what's his name?
Oh, Lorenzo?
Lorenzo.
You
Yes.
know what I keep hearing right now? This is what those 45 records, remember the records that was built, burnt on the 45
Oh, yes.
record?
Yes.
I'm hearing Mary J. Blige the whole time you saying that.
Mm.
She said, I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna shed no tears. Like
Hmm.
it's all about pride for people.
Right. Right. And to get over that, we have to admit that that's what it is.
Yep, pride,
And
ego,
you
pride.
really got to fight with it. It's a fight too. You got to fight with it. Once you recognize it, now it's time to confront it.
Well, because I was married only once, and I fell sleep. I mean, I fell sick like a couple of years ago, and I was in the hospital. When I woke up, I looked up and I seen my ex-husband there,
Mm,
and I said to him, I said, "What are you doing?" And guess what he told me?
what's that?
I'm being a good father for my sons.
Mm.
How old were they?
My sons were okay, 32 and 28.
Mm-hmm.
So so kind of jumping back on topic when we look at basically what we just said, it's what do we do moving forward, to solve this thing that we call the situationships and things like that. It's like what do we do moving forward, because based on just the conversation that we've had, because if you've listened to the show before or you're just now listening in, one of the things I like to do before we end any conversations is that we point out the educational component and the fact that we've had older people on here conversating and sharing. It's For me, it was even it was therapeutic and educational even for me, because I like for things to be educational so that when people listen in, whether it's listening in live or on the replay, that there is a takeaway or something that people can use and apply in their own relationships. And I say that to say this because this just came to mind too, because I remember listening to Dr. Miles Monroe. Oh man, I love listening to this brother. And he was talking about, and he was speaking from, he was speaking to, he was ministering to a group of men, and he was talking about uh women being like a lump of clay, right?
Mm-hmm,
If we've ever seen clay, it's either going to come in a block or it's going to come in like a tube, and it's going to be nice and smooth. And
mm-hmm,
they said sometimes the woman may start out, her first relationship may not be a good relationship, and you're going to get dents and lumps in that clay. Her second
mm-hmm,
relationship may not be the greatest relationship, so that's going to add more dents and lumps in that clay. But he was explaining to men, he was talking about, yes, he said, it's true that God makes every individual into a clean slate. Even though
mm-hmm,
she may have been into past relationships, that same piece of clay can be molded into the shape that you want it to be. And when I listen to this, I think it goes both ways, even for men, and I'm gonna explain to you why. He said, depending on what you want that clay to look like, you're gonna sculpt it. You can sculpt it to be like a beautiful piece of art, or you can beat it up to make it look like a unpleasantly looking lump of
mm-hmm,
clay, right? And that's what it's going to look like based on how you treat that lump of clay. He said, even if it's a lump of clay when you first get it, after you done had the clay for a while, it's gonna have, mixed with different colors or whatnot, but you still can mold that lump of clay. And I say that because even in my first marriage, I remember, and some women, a lot of women I think have experienced this. I remember my first wife. Oh man, she used to get out on me because I would always leave the toilet seat up. And I remember battling with trying to break that daggone habit. Oh my gosh. It was horrible.
mm-hmm.
I would be sleeping. I would hear her cussing after she done went in the bathroom and sat on that porcelain. But in my male mind, I was thinking, well, don't you look before you sit down? You know, but it now, even now today, because of that situation, I'm always putting the toilet seat down. It's a habit. So what I'm saying is to say this, especially to those young people that are out there and they're thinking about marriage.
Put the
You know,
toilet seat down.
well, not even yeah, put the toilet seat down, but sometimes you have to teach or mold a person into how to love you. And you can do that. That's part of the process because everybody's different. Now, what that person is willing to or willing not to do, you know, you're going to learn that. But if we're looking at how moldable we are, because we do things, man, we look at marketing and advertising and television, and those things have molded our minds.
Well, you
So
know the funny thing about that is
go ahead.
I've always lived in the house at any given time with or more males. I never had a problem with the toilet seat because I think what I did was I left the toilet seat up. That way you don't have to worry about it being down, put down. Just leave it up all the time.
Hmm,
So the women go in
that's
there to
one way.
sit down, they need to put it down.
I don't know about that.
Well,
That
I
toilet
look,
seat
as
thing.
a
We ain't never had
man,
a problem with the toilet seat
I've always known the woman to run the household, like the structure of the household.
I'm saying I don't know. We never had a problem with the toilet seat being left up in the middle of the night.
But you
So I
get
guess
the
I just leave
but
it
it's like it's kind of like you get
It's
the point though.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that I had to learn to, it see,
to
when
put
we
it
hear
down.
that happy wife, happy home thing, yeah,
Mm.
there's some truth to that. There are things that you're
But if
going to
the
have to
toilet seat
do,
is
just
always
small
up,
habits. There are
the
small
men just go in
habits.
there and use the bathroom.
I'm sorry.
If you leave the toilet seat up all the time, the men just go in there and use the bathroom. When the women have to go to the potty, they have to put the seat down
And
naturally.
But if you leave the toilet seat down all the time, then the women can just go in there and use the bathroom. And the men have to pull
The
the
point,
seat up and put it back down.
the point normally is women upset that they have to sit on the rim of the commode.
hmm Well, like I said, that's something that's a conversation for each individual relationship. Like I
The
said,
females in the office
my
they
first
still do
marriage,
that.
that was the conversation. For me to not hear that voice in the middle of the night, I had to make sure I broke that small habit. Was it going to kill me? No, it's not going to kill me to put the toilet seat down. It is not going to kill a
Well,
person to put the toilet seat up. It's a simple habit to change. And
also,
I think when we have disputes about those type of things, simple things, that's when we start to have this the bickering starts.
well,
Like those are simple habits.
when I got married, I like to have my own toilet, private toilet. Nobody use but me.
Yeah, well, if you're privileged to have that, but not everybody
Hmm.
has it. You know what I'm saying? That'd be great to have. I would love to have a his and hers. But
Yep.
that's where we talk about compromise. That I mean, and I would like to think, you know, I don't know if you're in a situationship, I don't know if how much compromise is in one of those, but
Not
in a
much.
marriage, there's a level of compromise and submission that's going to have to take place. If you can't do any of those things, then you would have to be that what was that term?
Concubine.
No, that we was talking about earlier. You have people who wanted to be in a marriage, and you had those people who, aren't
Had
fit for
checked out.
marriage. You know,
Hmm.
so people who are not fit for marriage, no, they're not going to want to submit to rules and boundaries and or have a level of compromise because
Uh,
that's just part of the
yeah.
game of commitment.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are in Chicago, huh? Or where?
Yeah, we are in Chicago. The weather has been unseasonably warm for us. Cold for you all, I'm sure.
I think she
But
in
I'm sure
California.
even over here in
yes,
Chicago, most homes now, anywhere you live now, have more than one bathroom. Not like when we grew up with one bathroom.
Well, I mean, my second marriage, we had one upstairs and one downstairs. I think, well, the upstairs bathroom was the kids basically,
Hmm.
and we had our room was downstairs, So we had our bathroom that we still shared it, as husband and wife, but still I knew the rules.
Okay.
Well,
I'm just
I,
going to sell that. Maybe just go in and leave the toilet seat up so that way everybody's happy. The
Hmm.
man could just use it right away. The woman, she got to check it out and put it down and use it.
mm,
Okay, you heard that?
I
Check the toilet seat. You need to check you
I need to check
that
it, huh?
toilet seat down.
I'll be damned. Okay.
If you don't want to fall in, right? Just go have to put it down if you don't want to fall in there.
Oh my gosh. Why? 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 Why?
Come rescue you out the toilet.
I tell you what. It since I gotta check the toilet seat. Why do the men breastfeed? How about that?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Why not?
Oh goodness.
Why don't they breastfeed? Y'all can breastfeed. But
Well,
anyway, guys, it's been a lovely, lovely day. I think that
yes.
this show has been awesome because we had brother, what's his name? What was his
Tank
name? Tank,
Tank
brother Tank. Yeah,
Commander.
because I was gonna say
Zulu.
Zulu, right. But it was great because he was on, and it was great because Cheryl was on,
Yes, Cheryl.
bringing us some California sunshine.
Hmm.
And we couldn't have done it without all of you, all of the comments. I didn't get a chance to read
Brian
them all.
Stanley, yes.
Over here it's 60 degrees and we're freezing.
What?
Yeah, that's
The
because you
good
guys are
weather.
spoiled. 60
Spoiled.
degrees, we would be
Uh-huh.
in tank tops and shorts. Okay, that
Yeah,
would
we
Right.
got the heat on.
that's all. Oh no, honey,
We
my
got the
heating
heat
bill
on.
would be
We're
nothing.
freezing.
But I'm gonna read these last few comments before we head out of here, guys. And look, you can email me at ladonnarayShow@gmail.com with topics that you want to talk about. We'll cover them all because remember the
Mm,
second topic was about women, successful women. Are they missing the mark when it comes to dating?
mm.
When the partners don't measure up to all that education, but we didn't get to that. We chose this topic, and this topic unraveled into many other topics, including
Oh, I like
second marriages, first
Yes.
marriages, toilet seats, one
And
bathrooms. I think we covered a lot.
yeah, and if we get some people under 50,
Yeah,
even under 45, we get some people under 45 in the conversation.
yeah. Well, here's the comments, the last of the comments that we have. They're elder comments now because they were 39 minutes ago.
Mm,
He said, I meant honest about past relationships. If you're just going to be out there and not wanting a relationship, yes, be honest. There will be someone who will want the same thing as well. Okay.
it.
Those situationships sound fun, though. I mean, it's good drama that you don't have to experience firsthand. Although it sounds fun, doesn't mean that it is. That's what Brian Stanley said. And then Dust for Tears said, this man's testimony shows the importance of positive mentorship. He also said, when she dipped, I dipped, then we dipped.
Yeah,
Apologize.
we're gonna do that.
Apologies come in many forms. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. When you dip, you give your partner permission to dip. And then the last and final comment I will read for tonight is, what do you do when you try to play the higher ground, but then something happens you can't forget or forgive? And that divides
Mhm.
your relationship with your kids. Oh, dang,
Ooh,
he went deep,
ooh,
deep, deep,
Mhm.
deep.
ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
So
I'm
I
gonna write
guess
that one down.
check this out, you guys. You can check if you have iHeartRadio, you can download the app and check us out tomorrow on the Wake Up Show Chicago. Lorenzo T. Hughes will be co-hosting with me, as well as Dr. Larry Ivory from the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. We'll be talking about Black business tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. And those of you in California, that's 7 o'clock. Okay.
Mm.
And I know you'll be sleeping, right? And then Monday, you can tune into the iHeartRadio app. Look for WVON 1690, and you will find us on Monday on the afternoon show with myself, LaDonna Raeh, and Atiba Buchanan. Man, Lorenzo, I had fun talking to you
Oh
today. I
yes,
was taking a lot of
amazing,
notes
a
and
lot of
taking it
fun, a
all
lot of fun.
in. But I
Yes,
tell you what, thank you so much for just being true and being transparent, sharing
and
your story with us, because I think a lot of people are afraid to say I don't like the fact that
I-
people bury the past like it didn't happen. I think you know that
and
about me. And I think we live in a society where we are taught, we don't have to learn it, we're taught to bury it and act like it didn't happen, they didn't exist. And
and
I'm so proud of you for even opening up about
I'm
that.
gonna say this real quick. And transparency is something that I'm still learning how to do. Even just and I didn't want to get to this because like I said, it's a different topic. But even there was a long stint of just being embarrassed of being divorced.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I'm still learning how to talk about and and be transparent about. So be that transparency part. I think a lot of men we struggle with transparency, and it could be valuable in repairing relationships and things like that. So I'm still learning that. But thank you.
Well, I tell you what, women, men, when they're divorced, they're single. When women are divorced, we're divorced. That's the difference. There's a big difference. We're going to get out of here. Thank you so much to all of our listeners. Make sure
Yes.
that you subscribe to the LaDonna Ray Show on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. It's free for now. All right. So you want to get in. We reached 1,000 subscribers finally. That was it was a long time coming, but
Congratulations.
hey, congratulations to us
Yes.
because that's collective, okay? And we look forward to seeing more subscribers come through, comment, and share the show. Make sure you share this episode. We got started at 8. We're going a couple of hours. I think that's enough time to get
Oh
our
yeah.
point
Wow. A couple
across.
hours. Man, that was quick.
Look, I ate my pizza in the beginning. I'm trying to get some more. I don't know if it's any more left.
Uh
I
oh.
I hope. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much for everything that you do when it comes to supporting all of the content creators out there, not just us. But it's a blessing to have you guys join us on a weekly basis. We'll be back next Friday, same time, unless Lorenzo is picked up by
Oh
another
man,
show
that's
or
the goal.
movie.
That's the goal.
Yeah. And then I guess you could do it from your trailer.
Right. Ooh, yes.
All right,
Peace and
guys.
love. Peace and love, everybody.
Bye bye for now. Da, 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 da.
You gotta create